Yo, yes, now, bless now. Don't forget to rest now, people. There's ROCKSTEADY at King of the Pit TV signing in and essentially signing out. If you just caught this on the end of my full album listen, I got recommended this record on Patreon by my patron and friend Awesome. Awesome is the name they go by on there, by the way. I'm not just saying awesome, yes. Too Bad You're Beautiful was the record, and the band was From Autumn to Ashes. Now, I have never, ever listened to this band before, not knowingly at least. I don't think I've ever come across the material, but it comes from a time and a place of music that influenced a hell of a lot of what got me on the path of listening to alternate music, so I got to put some respect on that. I've come across the band once or twice referenced in like online spaces and so forth, but I've never ever listened to the band, never seen the band, never heard of any acts really give a direct prop to this act. I don't know when this album sort of came out as far as their discography is concerned, but I believe it was a 2001 record. This seems like there was a fair amount of money invested in it as far as studio production is concerned. There's a lot of material on this record. Now, I don't know if I was listening to an extended album or if the actual record came out with 14 tracks, but there's a lot of material on here. The songs are relatively long anyway. You're looking at about 4 minutes to 5 minutes, but we got one at 7 minutes 30, one at 9 minutes 25, and, you know, they're not fluffing up the material. It's consistent and full of ideas and full of writing. You know where I'm coming from? I enjoyed it. Is it my particular style of music? Not necessarily, but metalcore isn't really as a whole. I do enjoy it. Don't get me wrong, I do like metalcore, but I like ignorant, primitive, free chord, you know, mosh music. This is a little bit more developed, a little more artistry and poeticism has been injected within this record, which is the case when it comes to, you know, metalcore when it's picked up by labels and distributed to great amounts of people. It's marketable stuff because it's quality music. A lot of heavy metal influence, you know, in the riff. I heard some triplets, some gallops on the drums at times, on the kick drum. But in particular, the harmonies on the guitars and, you know, the triplets even on the guitars and some of the little lead melodies and so forth came across as very new wave of British heavy metal-esque heavy metal. The breakdowns were good. The vocals were good. In particular, I like the high vocals. The clean vocals were very reminiscent of the times. I appreciated them a lot. The band had 3 stages of sound, one of them being the standard heavy metalcore. They had a middle ground where they had a strong emphasized presence but not necessarily full force, and then they had the clean sounds. They never really sounded twinkly, but because they always remained full. They weren't like high-end emo twinkle. They were more so in the realms of a taste of things to come for the scene kid revolution that came in coming up into the mid 2000s. Definitely influential as far as my roots and where I came from. And so I find that fantastic to hear. If I was to rate this album, I'm going to meet you halfway. I'm going to give you a mix of my rating and the actual judgment of the project, because I would give it less outside of my personal taste, I'm jumbling and bumbling my words. I would give it a lower rating if I was basing it purely on my tastes, but I'm gonna give this album what it deserves by saying I can identify the quality of the music, the record, and the writing, and the time that's been invested into this, and the beautiful community of sound this band existed within at 2001 and influenced so much down the line. I don't need to tell you, I don't need to look into the history. I don't need to look into whether I'm, on the right path or not in saying that this band and this sound influenced so many bands, because I know it did. I know it did. I know it did. The music I was listening to around the mid-2000s and finding and discovering that came from all of these MySpace era of, projects, they all had elements that I could find rooted in this record. I enjoyed it. I'm going to give it a 6.5 out of 10. Hey, I cast judgment and I do criticize heavily. 6.5 isn't bad, right? Because to me, it's a little bit too spazzy. It's a bit too all over the place for me. I like more breakdown, verse, heavier breakdown, bridge section, last section, whatever. This was a bit too complex for me. Respectfully, they're not coming forth like a mathcore band. They're not coming forth like the bloody Dillinger Escape Plan. But, this is metalcore erring on a little bit too much of a technical capability. Too many ideas. Too many lead guitars playing melodies alongside the other guitar playing rhythms. Too many just kick into a breakdown but don't necessarily stay there for too long, because then we're going into a clean section. I appreciate the craft and the artistry behind it. But I've got a primitive, smooth brain. I'm a smooth brain man, and I can't hack too much movement. Not in this particular realm, at least, because the production is very dry. The production is good, but it's dry. It's very organic. Maybe if it was just like a technological marvel of production, with all of the magic and the ornaments and the bells and whistles thrown on, I might cast judgment on the structuring of the songs a little bit different. But hey, it is what it is. Respect. I'm signing out. Peace.